Hello everyone. Thanks for joining us as we look ahead to what could be one of the most memorable winters in recent history. As December 2025 draws to a close, there's a buzz in the air. People are talking and anticipation is building. This coming winter could be one for the record books, with experts warning of conditions we haven't seen in years. Two major weather forces are lining up, the polar vortex and La Niña, both known for their dramatic impact on our climate. When these two team up, they can deliver a winter that's colder, snowier, and more intense than usual, affecting millions of people. This isn't just another forecast. There's real potential for widespread significant cold that could disrupt daily life and routines. Arctic air could plunge deep into North America and even reach parts of Europe, bringing freezing temperatures and heavy snow. But don't panic. Being informed is the first step to being prepared. Knowing what's coming helps you stay safe and comfortable. So, what are these powerful forces that could shape our winter? The polar vortex is a swirling mass of cold air over the Arctic, while La Niña is a Pacific Ocean pattern with cooler-than-normal waters that can shift global weather. On their own, each can shape winter in unique ways, influencing storms, temperatures, and precipitation. Together they can create dramatic weather. Think blizzards, icy winds, and unpredictable storms. We'll break down how these patterns work, why this winter could be different from any you've experienced, and what you can do to get ready for whatever comes. No meteorology degree required. We'll keep it simple, clear, and practical so you can take action. By the end, you'll know why winter 2026 could be colder than you expect, and how to prepare your home, your family, and yourself. Let's dive in. Let's talk about the polar vortex, a giant spinning top of frigid air over the North Pole. It's a normal part of our atmosphere, acting like a cold air fence held in place by a strong jet stream. When the vortex is strong, the cold stays locked in the Arctic, and winters in the US and Europe are milder. The jet stream acts as a barrier, keeping the deep freeze contained. But the polar vortex isn't new. Scientists have studied it for decades. Its strength changes with the seasons, peaking in winter and weakening in spring. The real story is what happens when it doesn't follow the script. A strong vortex means mild winters for cities like Chicago and London. But what if that fence starts to wobble? When the spinning top loses balance, the polar vortex can become a major headline maker. That's the key to understanding why this winter could be so cold. Let's see what happens when the vortex wobbles. So, what happens when the polar vortex gets knocked off balance? Sometimes, a sudden warming high above the pole weakens the vortex, making it unstable. The jet stream becomes wavy, letting Arctic air escape southward. These blobs of cold can bring extreme cold snaps to North America, Europe, and Asia. The result? Prolonged periods of dangerously low temperatures, heavy snow, and brutal wind chills. You might remember past winters, when the polar vortex brought record-breaking cold. Those were classic disruptions. For winter 2026, forecasters see signs the vortex could be prone to these weakening events. A wobbly vortex doesn't guarantee cold everywhere, but it raises the odds for extreme cold in the mid-latitudes. It's like loading the dice for a severe winter. And this year, the vortex isn't acting alone. Now let's shift to the Pacific Ocean, where La Niña is making waves. La Niña is a climate pattern marked by cooler-than-normal sea surface temperatures in the central and eastern Pacific. It might seem far away, but its effects ripple across the globe, especially in winter. During La Niña, stronger trade winds push warm water west, letting cold water rise in the east. This cool patch changes the atmosphere, shifting jet streams and weather patterns worldwide. La Niña events happen every few years and can last months. For winter 2025-26, data points to a moderate to strong La Niña. This sets the blueprint for our winter forecast. Let's see what that means for our weather. With La Niña in place, the jet stream shifts noticeably northward, steering powerful storms into the Pacific Northwest and Western Canada. This shift in the jet stream is a hallmark of La Niña winters, and it dramatically alters the weather patterns across the continent. As a result, these regions experience colder, snowier winters than usual, with relentless mountain snow piling up and frequent rainstorms drenching the lower elevations. Ski resorts often thrive, but travel can become hazardous. Meanwhile, as the jet stream dips southward over the heart of the continent, it drags frigid Arctic air into the northern plains and upper Midwest. Residents here can expect not just cold, but extended periods of deep freeze and significant snow accumulation, sometimes leading to blizzard conditions. The Great Lakes region often gets hammered with intense lake-effect snow as cold air sweeps over the warmer lake waters, creating heavy localized snow bands that can bury cities and towns in a matter of hours. Meanwhile, the southern U.S. is usually warmer and drier during La Niña winters, with more sunshine and fewer storms. However, these areas are not immune to sudden, sharp cold snaps that can catch residents off guard. La Niña winters in the south are generally mild overall, but can be punctuated by damaging freezes that threaten crops and disrupt daily life, especially in places unaccustomed to icy conditions. Across the Atlantic, La Niña can influence Europe by encouraging persistent high-pressure blocks near Greenland, which can disrupt the usual flow of weather systems. This pattern can push cold Arctic air into northern and western Europe, raising the odds for cold snaps and significant snowfall, even in cities that rarely see much winter weather. So, La Niña sets the stage for a winter of dramatic contrasts, wet and cold in the north, dry and variable in the south, with each region experiencing its own unique challenges and surprises. But when La Niña teams up with a wobbly polar vortex, the weather can become even more unpredictable, with the potential for extreme cold outbreaks and wild swings in temperature. Let's take a closer look at how these powerful forces combine to shape our winter weather and what it could mean for the months ahead. Here's the main event: what really happens when La Niña and a weak polar vortex join forces. This rare combination can set the stage for some of the most dramatic winter weather events we've seen in recent years. La Niña shifts the jet stream, setting up a storm track that favors repeated cold air intrusions into North America. This means that the usual flow of weather is disrupted, allowing colder air to push much farther south than normal. When the polar vortex is disrupted, it unleashes the coldest Arctic air, and La Niña's altered jet stream channels that frigid air deep into the heart of the US and Canada. This can lead to sudden sharp temperature drops and prolonged cold spells. The result? Multiple high-impact Arctic outbreaks, temperatures plummeting far below normal, major snowstorms, and blizzards that can paralyze entire regions. Cities and rural areas alike can be hit hard, sometimes with little warning. The Great Lakes, in particular, could see record-breaking snow as frigid air sweeps over the relatively warmer waters, fueling intense lake-effect snow bands and whiteout conditions. Meanwhile, in Europe, both La Niña and a weak polar vortex can encourage high-pressure blocks near Greenland. This opens the door for Siberian or Arctic air to surge southward, bringing a deep freeze to the continent. This is the infamous Beast from the East setup, notorious for bringing paralyzing cold, heavy snow, and icy conditions to the UK and much of Europe. Streets can become treacherous, and daily life grinds to a halt. When these two powerful patterns align, winter can become both intensely cold and relentlessly snowy, stretching emergency services and testing communities' resilience. It's a recipe for a season that stands out in the history books, remembered for its severity and the challenges it brings. So, where will winter hit hardest this season? Which regions should brace for the worst? Let's break down the regional impacts in detail. Here's what you can expect, and how to prepare for what could be a truly memorable winter. Let's get specific. Who's in the bullseye for winter 2026? The northern US and Canada classic setup for a harsh winter. The Pacific Northwest and northern plains will see frequent storms, heavy snow, and brutal cold. The upper Midwest and Great Lakes expect prolonged deep freezes and above-average lake-effect snow. The South, generally warmer and drier, but wild swings are possible. Intense cold snaps could threaten crops and infrastructure in Texas, Louisiana, and Florida. Europe northern regions, including the UK, Scandinavia, and Germany, face a higher risk of cold and snow, especially if high-pressure blocks set up near Greenland. These patterns pull in Arctic or Siberian air, making for a winter that feels more traditionally cold and snowy. While not a guarantee, the odds are tilted toward a memorable winter. So, how can you prepare? Let's talk about simple steps to get ready for a super cold season. Preparation is key. Here's how to stay safe and warm. Let's get practical. Safe. Now, let's wrap up. Winter 2026 could be a season to remember, with La Niña and a wobbly polar vortex teaming up for cold and snow across North America and Europe. We've seen how these patterns work, and why this winter could be different. The goal isn't fear, it's empowerment. Understanding the science helps you prepare and stay safe. Take action now. Prep your home, car, and wardrobe. Stay connected, check on neighbors, and share information. Community is your best defense against the cold. Winter can be beautiful and magical when you're ready for it. Stay warm, stay safe, and let's get through this winter together. Thanks for joining us. See you next time.